anxiety, sleep deprivation, envy, and communication issues. Those 5 things and social media make one messy ball of yarn. Let's unravel that in just a second. Do you want to improve your classroom management skills? Do you want to increase student engagement? How about amplifying student success? If these are things you're interested in, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Things That Work. Social media, there is no question there's an effect on the teenage brain. So that's what we're going to talk about. Depression, anxiety, sleep deprivation, envy, and communication issues. Those are the 5 main things our young people face when it comes to dealing with a saturation of social media. Obviously, if you've paid any attention to the videos I've posted in the past, you know that I have some firsthand knowledge of depression and anxiety. And if you're on this channel, obviously, you know I have a firsthand knowledge of social media, not just YouTube. I'm also functioning. If you have read anything down below, you know that I've got a Twitter and an Instagram and all that stuff going on too. In addition to things you don't know about me, I have Snapchat, I've got Tumblr, I've got other things going on as well that I communicate to other teachers with and other friends with, and that is part of what a lot of us do. It's something I have made a purposeful effort in keeping up with. Well, you know, I've been working with teenagers now more than half my life. That's over 25 years of working with teenagers, specifically about the 9th, 10th grade level of teenagers. I've seen more of them than any other age group, and I can tell you they are wrestling with some real issues that come from social media. Now, I'm also not stupid, and I'm not going to think you can just get rid of social media. That's not going to happen. It's too much a part of their life. But I think if teenagers were made aware of these things, they would be better equipped. The first thing I want to talk about are really 2 things at once, and that's depression and anxiety. The 2 kind of go hand in hand because they can feed each other. As I mentioned in my other videos, I talked about how depression can feed anxiety and anxiety can feed depression. They build this cycle around themselves. Unfortunately, one of the things that causes that is this social media. Now, social media, when it becomes an obsession, students feel the need to post constantly. Yes, I've ended up on people's Snapchats in the classroom. You know the filters that are out there. Currently, there's a filter where it makes a guy look like a girl and a girl look like a guy. That was, I first noticed the other day there were students holding their cameras up occasionally to get a picture of me teaching, and what they were doing was making me look like a girl and then Snapchatting it out. Funny, I agree, but not completely necessary. All 5 of these problems with social media and the teenage brain are closely tied together. The depression, anxiety, sleep deprivation, envy, and also communication issues. All of those things are tied together. Let me explain what I mean. The depression and anxiety, of course, feed each other. So you can see where those 2 build on each other. And I talk about that in more detail if you look at some of my past videos. Now, the sleep deprivation, there are several things that contribute to that. One is having your phone screen flash on and off all through the night. That's sleep deprivation that students may not even be aware that's happening to them. But when that light comes on, that light goes off, that light comes on, that light goes off, it interferes with the circadian rhythm of sleep. And in the teenage years, that sleeping part is crucial to healthy brain development. With sleep deprivation comes an added aggravation to the depression and anxiety, because when we're sleep deprived, we don't deal with things as efficiently emotionally as we should. That is a part of the issue, the feeding issue. Now, the other one is envy, and I'm not talking about device envy. I'm not talking about one student wanting another student's phone. While that exists, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about lifestyle and life envy. When students become wrapped up in watching their YouTube, their IG, all these celebrities that have found their niche in these different forms of media, when they become wrapped up watching those celebrities and comparing their life, which they know everything about, to the life of these celebrities that they only know 30-second, 3-minute blips of, then they come up short. They don't compare well. Because when you compare what you know about yourself to what you don't know about somebody else, you're always going to come up short. The very nature of social media is to present only the great moments, or in some cases, the very worst moments in life, to let the viewer compare themselves to it. That's not saying, hey, compare yourself to me. No, it doesn't work that way, but that is what happens. And when students see these celebrities living in rich and amazing situations, houses that are so fantastic, they could never possibly, in this current situation that they're in, dream of being in a place like that. They begin to fantasize. I have this envy, this life envy, an envy of other people's lives that is not healthy, and it will also feed the sleep deprivation, the depression, and the anxiety. And finally, we'll talk about communication issues. Now, a lot of teachers and a lot of adults will talk about the fact that students can't write, and they'll blame texting and all that. Texting is not the biggest communication issue. I think one of the communication issues can be tied to texting, and that's the fact that when you receive a text, or when a student receives a text, they only have words. They have no tone of voice. They have no facial expressions to go with it. Emojis go a long way to helping with that, but the bottom line is all you have are the words on the screen and your brain to interpret what you read. You can interpret texts and text messages wrong. You don't have the context of the individual telling you. All you have are the words. And even a simple phrase like, I like you, can be completely misinterpreted in either direction. Someone's brain can twist and put in tone that's not there to where the words, those three words, I like you, can come across as I hate you. Or I like you can mean I am infatuated with you and I want to spend all my time with you for the rest of my life. And neither one of those is true. It simply meant I like you. Missing that context is probably the biggest communication issue that occurs. There are others. We find that students are having issues with face-to-face conversations and things like that. All those things, I think, are a byproduct of the social media issue. However, this communication issue, the envy, the sleep deprivation, the depression and anxiety, they all feed each other, and it makes one large problem. How to tackle it, I'm not sure. I am looking at solutions. One of the things, of course, is maintaining a strict cell phone policy in your classroom. And strict doesn't have to be, angry, evil, and overbearing. It can be fun. Check out the video I did on cell phone and electronic usage in the classroom. There are ways you can be creative with how you deal with cell phones. There are also times in which cell phones are okay in the classroom. As a teacher, don't condemn the device, but find a practical reason when necessary to use those devices. Students need to learn that there's a time and a place for their electronic devices. And we need to provide them as teachers those times and places so that in their minds they can start to divide between when it's okay, when it's not okay, when it's polite and when it's not polite to use their electronic devices. Unfortunately, we do not constructively teach those things because I think even as adults, we are still learning when it's okay to use our own cell phones and our own electronic devices. We need to be aware, maybe even hyper aware, of how we as adults are using our electronic devices. Are you using them at the dinner table? And if you are, why? Have a reason for your use. But if you want people to know that they are the center of what's going on in your life at that moment, that is not the time to be using electronic devices. Just a few ideas, and I'll probably hit on this topic again with more specific information, but I wanted to alert you to these 5 things so that you know how better to address the problems that teenagers are facing when it comes to social media. I enjoy learning with you, I enjoy teaching with you, and together we can take over the world.